today. The crisis in Kota, India's so-called coaching capital. It's a place where the pressure to get ahead is so intense, it's having absolutely devastating and sometimes fatal consequences.
You've probably seen the ads, right? They're plastered everywhere, promising a golden ticket, a guaranteed top rank at a prestigious university. But the reality? Well, as the source material shows us, for so many students, that dream turns into an absolute nightmare, a dangerous life-ending pressure cooker.
And let me be clear, this isn't something from the past. This is happening right now. The data we have shows that just in the first month of 2026, there have already been multiple student deaths. This is an act of emergency.
So how did we get here? To really get a handle on why this is so urgent today, in 2026, you've got to understand this didn't just pop up overnight. This has been building for years. Let's actually walk through a timeline of this escalating tragedy.
Okay, so looking at this timeline, you can see a really disturbing pattern. Between 2015 and 2022, the average was already high. We're talking 10 to 15 deaths a year. But then look at 2023. It just explodes to an all-time high. And it got so bad, it was even debated in Parliament. There was a small dip in 2024 after some, minor changes were made. But by 2025, the numbers were climbing again, catching the attention of the Supreme Court. And that brings us to now, early 2026, where it's spiking all over again.
This chart really drives the point home. Just look at that jump. In 2023, the number of deaths literally more than doubled the average of the previous years. This isn't just a small increase. This signals a massive, systemic failure that's just hit its breaking point.
So you might be asking, why? Why is the pressure so incredibly high? Well, it all comes down to the numbers, and they are just brutal. Only about 1 or 2% of students actually make it into these top engineering and medical schools. Just 1 or 2%. So what happens to the other 98%? They're left feeling like they've failed, facing depression, anxiety, and being stuck with this horrible loser label.
Okay, so we've seen the numbers, but what does that feel like? What does a day in the life of one of these students actually look like? Let's step inside that pressure cooker for a moment. I mean, look at this schedule. It is just relentless. You're waking up at 5 a.m., then you're in coaching classes for 6 to 8 hours straight. After that, up to 10 more hours of self-study. All of this leaves you with maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep. There is simply no time for anything else. Not for rest, not for a decent meal, not for a moment to just breathe.
And this right here, this is the massive disconnect. On one hand, you have the promise, the glossy ads showing smiling faces and guaranteed success. But then, you have the reality. And according to the reports we're drawing from, that reality is, well, it's public humiliation from teachers. It's kids turning to illegal study drugs to keep up. It's 4 or 5 students crammed into a single tiny, dirty room and almost no mental health support to speak of.
And just listen to this quote taken right from the source material. A teacher telling a student, "You are a waste of fees. Go home." Can you even imagine hearing that? As a teenager, away from your family, and having that shouted at you in front of everyone. It's just a shocking example of the kind of verbal abuse that's apparently being used as a motivational tool.
It's so important that we don't forget. These aren't just statistics. Behind every single one of those numbers, there's a real person. There's a human story, a family completely shattered, and a young life that was cut way, way too short.
I mean, look at the words on the slide. I can't do JEE NEET, I'm a loser. This is from a note left by a student, a 17 or 18-year-old kid. It's just heartbreaking. These notes reveal this profound, overwhelming sense of failure and total hopelessness that comes directly from this toxic environment.
And what's really tragic is that these aren't just random one-off events. The sources are showing a clear, predictable, and heartbreaking pattern in the most recent cases. It's a combination of isolation, intense pressure from family, and then humiliation after getting a bad score on a practice test. It's a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so this is all incredibly bleak. But here's the thing. This cycle can be broken. It's not inevitable, but it's going to take real, immediate action from absolutely everyone involved.
So who's responsible for making that change? Well, it really has to happen on 3 levels. First, at home, with parents. The focus has to shift from marks to mental health, from pressure to support.
Second, the students themselves need to feel like they can talk to someone, to know they are not alone in this. And third, the system itself has to change. We're talking about mandating counselors in every single one of these centers and having strict, zero-tolerance rules against this kind of public shaming.
And this might be the single most important takeaway from this entire explainer. If you are watching this, or if you know someone who is struggling with this kind of pressure, please know that help is available. Right now. It's confidential and it's immediate.
Seriously, take a second, pull out your phone and save these numbers. You never ever know when you or someone you care about might need them. Just sharing this information could literally change a person's life. It could save a life.
And so, after all of this, we're left with one final, really critical question. It's a question that every parent, every student, and every single person involved in this system has to look in the mirror and ask themselves, is it worth it? Is all this pressure